Hey, YouTubers, it's me, Lonnie Clark, Nuts for Art. Man, I apologize for not getting back to the readings, but I have been editing them for KEPW, putting them together for like Carl Grossman's show. And in doing that, I've been editing, and it takes such a long time to edit. So these last few nights, I've just been doing nothing but editing. And tonight I was reading Dr. Caldicott's book, because the way they're going to do it on KEPW is they're going to take my readings from Carl Grossman and play them on Monday. And then on Thursday, they're going to take these readings. And that really took a long time. It's taking a long time to edit them and put them together. So I think what I'm going to do is just completely do them separate. I'm going to read for YouTube, and then I'm just going to do a reading for the radio show, because boy, is it just way complicated to try to piece all this stuff together. But I definitely want to get back to you. So I think I'm just going to spend my evenings doing 2 sets of readings. That might make it easier. But you know what? Last night when I was doing, what was I working on? Doing an editing, I know what happened, is there was a little bit of time left over on Carl Grossman's when I put the 3 together and edited out all of my little chitter chatter to you guys here on the YouTubes, which wouldn't make sense to anybody on the radio, or all of my little visual cues when I talk about my glasses and all that other stupid stuff. There was like 20 minutes or 15 minutes left. So I thought, well, I'll go online and look for an article, because the next chapter was way too long. I had it planned 1 through 3, 4 through 6. It kind of made, each one's about 15 minutes, and that would give them time to put their messages in. It was kind of like this complicated thing, which also gets me back to the radio station too, because I also haven't gotten to that yet either, because of the same thing. There's a bunch of these decisions I'm setting it up. It's just taking some time. It looks easy, and it is easy once it's going to get set up. But like, I have to, I don't know, do the intro, figure out how to put it all on my computer, which I still have not successfully done yet. So I'm still working on it. But I found this article to fill in this time, and I wanted to, the title of this thing is exactly the title. So I am going to screen share it with you so you can read it along with me, because I was reading this for the radio show and for KEPW, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to share this with my YouTube audience. This really completely blew me away. I think that's it. I think I got it. That's not it. Is that it? No, that's not it. Okay, so let's see. We go here. There we go. Okay, so here we go. See all of this stuff that we're chitter-chattering about? I'd have to edit all that out. And, you know, this is the thing about talking to my YouTube channel is this isn't like the easiest thing, because in the first place, it's hard to figure out where to look. So that always, and I realized doing my YouTube video how random my eyes are, especially if I take off my glasses, they just kind of bing bong all over the place. So I apologize to you guys for that. And no wonder I only have 346 subscribers. I'm probably really hard to watch. Might be a reason I don't have a boyfriend too. Anyways, let's get to this reading, because it's shocked me. So I think we're screen sharing. And let me go back and say, I think I have to say this last thing. Present to everyone. I don't know what it looks like if I don't present to everyone, but I'm going to go back and do that. Stop sharing. Okay, so I'm there. And then I'm going to put my little glasses on because you guys won't see them. Okay. The U.S. Defense Department this week will take the first steps to create the Space Force. Oh, wait a minute. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say the title again so it's all in one whole thing, because I've been blabbing on. So this was written, this article that I'm reading you was written on defenseone.com, www.defenseone.com. And it was written by Marcus Weisgerber on July 31st, 2018. So how pertinent is it? I'm not going to read you the little space title, the little title at the top, but this is the story. The U.S. Defense Department this week will take the first steps to create the Space Force, a new branch of the military ordered up by President Trump, but not yet fully backed by Congress. In the coming months, Defense Department leaders plan to stand up 3 of the 4 components of the new Space Force: a new combatant command for space, a new joint agency to buy satellites for the military, and a new warfighting community that draws space operators from all service branches. The drone operators, I guess. At least we won't be dropping drones if they stop doing that stuff. These sweeping changes, on par with the past decade's establishment of cyber forces, are the part the Pentagon can do without lawmakers' approval. Creating the 4th component, an entirely new branch of the military with services and support functions, such as financial management and facilities construction, will require congressional action. Defense officials plan to spend the rest of 2018 building a legislative proposal for the authorities necessary to fully establish the Space Force. That would go to Congress early next year as part of the Trump administration's 2020 budget proposal. This plan developed by This plan developed for execution by Deputy Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan, the Pentagon's number 2 civilian, is laid out in a 14-page draft report slated to go to lawmakers on Wednesday. That is August 1st, right? Wednesday. I think that's today. So it went to lawmakers today. Defense One reviewed a draft on the report dated July 30. Quote, "The Department of Defense is establishing a space force to protect our economy through deterrence of malicious activities, ensure our space systems meet national security requirements, and provide vital capabilities to joint and coalition forces across the spectrum of conflict," says the draft report. DoD will usher in a new age of space technology and new field systems in order to deter and, if necessary, degrade, deny, disrupt, destroy, and manipulate adversary capabilities to protect U.S. interests, assets, and way of life. This new age will unlock growth in the U.S. industrial base, expand the commercial space economy, and strengthen partnerships with our allies, unquote. So did your hair stand up on the back of your head when you heard all of that? It did mine, and it does still when I'm reading it for the 3rd time. Way of life. Wow. The Pentagon declined to comment on the report in advance of its formal release later this week. New subtitle, New Forces. The draft report says the Pentagon will, by year's end, establish an 11th Unified Combatant Command, U.S. Space Command. Like U.S. Special Operations Command, which oversees special forces composed of service members and organizations drawn from various service branches, the 4-star Space Command will oversee space forces from across the military. The proposal goes even further than lawmakers demanded in the 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, which orders the Pentagon to create a space command under U.S. Strategic Command. Quote, "The department will recommend that the president revise the Unified Campaign Plan, to create U.S. Space Command by the end of 2018 and evaluate the need for any additional personnel, responsibilities, and authorities, unquote. The draft report says. Initially, the Pentagon will recommend that the head of Air Force Space Command also serve as the commander of U.S. Space Command. Space liaisons will be installed in the geographic combatants commands, starting with the U.S. European Command. Let's read that again. Space liaisons will be installed in the geographic combatant commands, starting with U.S. European Command. Wow. The draft report says the Pentagon will also stand up to a space operations force made up of uniformed and civilian space personnel from the 4 military services and the National Guard and Reserve. Similar to special forces, personnel provided by all military services, the Space Operations Force will be composed of the space personnel from all military services, but developed and managed as one community, it says. This force would come together quickly. The goal is to deploy, quote, teams of space experts, unquote, to U.S. European Command and U.S. Indo-Pacific Command by next summer. New subtitle, New Ways to Procure Satellites. The draft report heralds seismic changes in how the Pentagon buys, launches, and develops new technology for its satellites, including organizational and cultural shifts to emphasize speed and experimentation. It also plans a bigger role for private sector space companies, quote, as commercial and government entities move toward the center on requirements, regulation, and compliance, unquote. The centerpiece of this effort is a new joint office dubbed the Space Development Agency to oversee new satellite development and space launch contracts. Major existing space acquisition programs will remain in current service organizations and aggressively pursue improved performance, while the Space Development Agency develops and fields the capabilities outlined in the DoD Space Vision. The DoD Space Vision. I wonder if that means like this vision for 2020, if that's what it's been renamed. That's what we're reading in Carl Grossman's book. The draft report says, over time, as current programs complete, resources will shift from the Service Space Acquisition Organization to the Space Development Agency, unquote. The biggest impact will be to the Air Force. The move clouds the future of the service's space initial. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. The move clouds the future of the service's Space and Missile Systems Center, the 6,000-person organization in Los Angeles that currently oversees about 85% of DoD's space procurement budget, and which was recently restructured to speed the purchase and launch of satellites. The report calls this overhaul the start, quote unquote. The start. That makes me, that literally makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Like the Missile Defense Agency, the Space Development Agency would oversee acquisition projects, Like the Missile Defense Agency, the Space Development Agency would oversee acquisition projects across the various military services. Its size will be determined by a DoD governance committee in partnership with the intelligence community. Its location will be determined through, quote, an accelerated process that considers locations that best enable the agency to attract talent, leverage commercial expertise, and develop new capabilities at speed and scale. Currently, the Air Force has hubs in space in Colorado, California, and Florida. Wow, really? Currently, the Air Force has hubs for space in Colorado, California, and Florida. Wow. The Army and Missile Defense Agency have a large presence in Huntsville, Alabama, an area nicknamed Rocket City for its large role in NASA and military space projects. This city is also known as the Pentagon South due to the high concentration of Defense Department civilians there. Huntsville, Alabama. Let's remember that. The report, which responds to a congressional mandate in the 2018 Defense Authorization Act, was largely written by Shanahan's office and by Stephen Kitay, Kitay, Deputy Assistant Defense Secretary for Space Policy, according to senior defense official. Air Force officials were largely cut out of the review process several weeks ago. The official and another source with knowledge on the decision said on the condition of anonymity to speak out about the yet-to-be-released report. Wow. This is like, they're taking over, folks. Like, we think we're going to have a free and fair election. Think again. New subtitle, From Idea to Plan. The idea of creating a new service-level organization to handle the military space operation has been contentious since lawmakers last year proposed to attach a Space Corps to the Air Force along the lines of the Marine Corps and the Navy. Pentagon leaders, including Trump's own Air Force Secretary, largely opposed the move. But in recent months, the president was mauled and then stated his desire for a Space Force. He mulled it over. He thought he'd just, let's just do it, guys. If it becomes reality, it would be the first new branch of the military since the Air Force was born out of the Army Air Corps in 1947. Look, Carl Grossman, in this book that I'm reading on Monday nights on KEPW, talks about the vision for 2020, in which the United States talks about complete dominance in space and space control. This is not a new idea. These people are nothing but liars and fascists. Okay, let's keep on. I'm sorry for the comments from the peanut gallery. Quote, both the chief of staff and I are actually very glad that people are becoming more aware and having a debate about what we do about this as a nation. This just wasn't really there before, Air Force Secretary Heather Wilson said during a Washington Post event on July 25th, because nobody reads and they don't understand history. Okay, quote, I think the most important thing is to stay focused. I think she meant stay. Is to stay focused on the war fighter and maintaining the lethality of the service no matter how the org chart boxes go, Wilson said. It's all about the ability to fight. If we keep focused on that and not on which boxes move around and which places in the Pentagon, then we'll do the right thing for the nation. Well, you guys certainly have taught the nation how to fight, Trump Nation. Wilson's predecessor, Deborah Lee James, you like how they always put women in these power positions, who served as Air Force Secretary during the Obama administration, said Monday that she opposes a Space Force, but supports the creation of a combatant command, like the one discussed in Shanahan's report. She made her comments at a Brookings Institute event in Washington. In recent years, the Air Force made numerous changes within its space arm to defend against Russian and Chinese interference. This week, the Pentagon is poised to announce a shift from few independent satellite constellations to a proliferated low Earth orbit architecture enabled by lower cost commercial pace technology and access. What the F does that mean? Let's read that again. In recent years, the Air Force made numerous changes within its space arm to defend against Russian and Chinese interference. This week, the Pentagon is poised to announce a shift from a, quote, few independent, unquote, satellite constellations to a, quote, a proliferated low Earth orbit architecture enabled by lower cost commercial pace technology and access. So you guys, can you understand what that means? I think that means it's going to be something orbiting out there that they're going to be, I have no idea. That is just mumbo jumbo language. Air Force officials hinted at these changes earlier this year when Shanahan visited Air Force Space Command in Colorado. Hinted at the changes. The Air Force operates 77 satellites in orbit, while the Navy has 12 communication satellites, Wilson said. Satellites are really a pretty fragile thing, and we have to think about how do we defend a constellation. It's not always direct defense, she said. It may be that we distribute a network. If you have multiple nodes, it's inherently more resilient than if you're relying on one thing. Some it may be maneuverability. Some it may be deception. There's a lot of ways to make sure the United States can take a punch and keep on operating. These people are complete lunatics. Oh my God. This is why I had to bring you this. This book by Dr. Carl Grossman, written in what year? 2001, Vision for 2020. And here they are, 2018, going, oh, this is a brand new idea. They've been planning this for a long time. We're just complete suckers. Just like these people that write nasty notes like, liberals are so retarded. Liberals are so dumb. You are completely blind about Trump. You guys really don't understand. This is really sad. We have a nation full of, not full, we have about a third of the people in this country who really believe Donald Trump is a decent human being, who believes that this Space Force idea is a great idea. It's bad enough they've killed our environment, you guys. I mean, it is really bad. But they're going to go out in space and they can literally point lasers anywhere they want on this planet. That's going to be paid for with our tax dollars. Wow. I am completely nonplussed and blown away by this. Anyways. I want to bring that with you. And I am going to be doing a reading tomorrow night. As I said earlier, before I started reading this article, oh my gosh, all this editing for KEPW has really occupied my time. And I'm trying to get the radio thing going. And I'm trying to set up, the same time I want to set up the website, Age of Fission website, which is mine. I bought it. And I even have like the whole thing to build your website. But, you know, I work. And I have I've had some very big projects lately that just like, boom, take me till like 7 o'clock. And then I'm doing the YouTube. And then there's just like, I get an hour, maybe an hour and a half in the morning to like sort out the radio show stuff. So it's coming really slow. And I don't think any of you will really care because you follow me on YouTube. So and everybody else doesn't care at all. Maybe they'll listen, maybe they won't. But it's, as we say, we're doing it for those people who will listen. So, and that's you guys. So thanks for subscribing, and thank you for paying attention. And, some of these things I said in here, like, I didn't understand that gobbledygook. If you guys can tell me what that gobbledygook sentence meant about they're going to have satellites. I think what they're talking about is putting satellites in space, like missions, or having some in different sections of the Earth so that they can't just knock out the whole satellite system. I don't know, man. My skin literally, like, I think this is not just the environment, like, Fukushima, for fuck's sake. Fukushima's getting worse, and they're going to have the Olympics there in 2020. The same year that Carl Grossman says this plan is going vision for 2020, weapons in space. And what are they rolling out for next year? Weapons in space. And it is not an accident that they're having the Olympics in Fukushima in 2020. It's to see how compliant the population will be. Are you willing to go sit in a zone and sit on radioactive benches and go expose yourself to the most rapid contaminant that we know, and one of the most? Some chemicals are horrendous also. Wow. We really have to put our courage feet on, man. Like, not just that, we have to really decide we're going to stay happy and really connect and really love each other. And with the people that you know in your life, really connect with them and really embrace them and let us raise our vibrations up. That's why I made this crystal. I guess that's what that's called. It's a crystal. And this is a jade. And this is not... Oh, yeah. I think that this is the amethyst. And so I put them all together, and I don't know. Does it give me power? Makes me feel better. Anyways, you guys, sorry to yawn on you. YouTube's such like this weird thing. YouTube is just so bizarre because we're just, whoever it is that's doing the YouTube thing, we're like talking to somebody out there, and maybe somebody will listen, maybe somebody doesn't. I think I know I do it because I want to get this information out there, and then I just start blabbing on because I feel like maybe you really are there and you're really going to listen, so I'm going to talk to you. So that's the circular motion we go through here on the YouTubes. Anyways, you guys, if you want to hear the radio show, like, you can go to kepw.org. I'm at 6 p.m. there on Monday, and right now they're playing Carl Grossman's My Big Long edited version. Actually, the edited version of these books is going to be way better because I cut out all the ums and ahs, and when I have to redo because my brain is going faster, so I read ahead and I read into it, and then I have to redo the sentence because I didn't read it right. So I've edited out all that for the radio show. So if you guys want to go to kepw.org and look at their schedule and then listen to my shows, it might actually be an easier listen to than listening to my videos on Carl Grossman and Dr. Caldecott. But not that I don't want you to watch my things, you just click it, and so I get the numbers up. So what does that matter, getting the numbers up? Does it really matter? Like, I don't know. Wouldn't that be awesome if we could get 25 million people to, like, read this? Pentagon creates Space Force without congressional consent. Yeah, and then the Trumpers will go, yeah, good idea. We need to let the military do whatever they want because they're the military. They're protecting us. Who cares about democracy, right? I mean, this is the interesting thing. People say, well, if you vote, you're going to be voting in for a really corrupt system. Well, this is what I think about democracy. If we voted, we could vote out the correct system. We could actually get people in who would stand up to them. If we got 80% of the people voting instead of 20% of the people voting, we might get people in there with some cojones, you know. Maybe not, because I actually think that the military would start whacking people. I think we're just too far gone. After reading this article tonight, reading these books, I think that Sig Heil, man, get your passports and pray to God somebody will take Americans in. So, anyways, put your courage feet on, you guys. We really need it. I mean, really. Woo! No wonder I hardly get any views. Ciao, you guys. I'll talk to you later.